Your daily update of all breaking headlines with Charlie Kirk's assassin, Tyler Robinson. Lots to unpack tonight, such as body cam footage of Tyler Robinson capturing him using specific words that directly link him to incriminating evidence in this new case, as well as him blatantly lying to police officers on camera, which I'll show you the footage of. Next, police investigating a cell of trans individuals who apparently knew about the shooting plans and the murder plans of Charlie days in advance and even bragged about it on social media. And of course, now Candace Owens claims to have seen exclusive footage from a unseen camera angle directly behind Charlie Kirk when the assassination happened. And what she saw, she says, confirms this is all some big smoke and mirror conspiracy. Well, Candace, do I have some information and tough news for you? All that and more. I'll explain everything. Let's get started. So let's begin with the body cam footage from 2022 of Tyler Robinson. He got approached by law enforcement for an accident that he clearly caused. If you listen to the entire thing, it's about 7 minutes long, but I have one of the most key and most need to hear snippets, about 2-3 minutes long, for you to listen to. In this, I want you to pay attention. The officer questions Tyler, trying to get to the bottom of, who's at fault, et cetera, et cetera. Clearly, Tyler was at fault. Even his buddy who was in the car with him admitted they were at fault. And then Tyler visibly looks distressed that his buddy has admitted that they are at fault. You see his lips quivering. He's almost like motioning words, but not making the sounds. He's not speaking, but he's like he can't contain his need to spin this narrative and lie. Okay, also something very interesting here. If you've seen my previous videos, I've been covering Charlie Kirk's shooter, Tyler Robinson, for a good minute, about a week or two. They tried to come out and say the text message transcripts that were released between him and his transgender lover were fake because they did not sound like a young person in their early 20s, the way that your typical young 20-something-year-old would text. There's no emojis and there's no slang, et cetera, et cetera. That they've tried to say this is all a FBI, CIA cover up and just, make up some transcript and to frame Tyler Robinson. They're like, no 22-year-old speaks like this or talks like this over text messages. Read the text messages in my other video and then look at this body cam footage. He talks the exact same wording, verbiage, everything. The only difference is he doesn't have the time to sit out there and type out, quite literally, type out and plan out his message. But still, and even the fact, a big flag that people thought was a red flag that was raised about these text messages. What kind of 22-year-old refers to a car as a vehicle, as Tyler Robinson did in these transcripts? You might find it interesting. Tyler Robinson loves to use the word vehicle in this footage. Anyways, keep that in mind. Take a look.
Did you make any statements to him after the incident happened?
I said, "Are you all right?" And then as we pulled up here, I had him check on them.
Okay. All right. Did you make a statement saying that it was your fault?
No.
What's that?
No.
When I got out, I was worried, so I just went out. I was like, "Yeah, it wasn't your fault. It was our fault. We were both messed up." And I first went up to him to check on him.
Okay. You said that to him?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you mean by that?
I think it was just trying, not to...
Okay, because you guys have a couple different versions about what happened. So we had a third party witness that watched the entire thing. I'm just trying to clarify your guys' story a little bit. So you're heading
from that rightmost through lane through the intersection. And maybe a second or so before I reached the intersection, the light changed yellow.
Okay, you remember looking at the light?
Yeah, I was looking up at the light just before getting there.
Okay.
I saw it shift yellow. And as I get into the intersection, there was a vehicle in the lane between like the leftmost through lane that was forward some.
So people on the side of you were slowing down to a stop.
I had seen someone slowing down, and I wondered why they had slowed so much.
Okay.
But
why do you think that they were slowing down?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Maybe because the light was turning red?
Well, I was close enough to the light that I would end up in the intersection if I had tried to brake from that speed.
Okay.
I was going the speed limit. I just made sure.
Okay. How long was that? Like, when did you last check your speed?
Probably back maybe halfway down that road to that where it curves. Maybe halfway down that distance. I just looked.
Gotcha. All right. 1 second. Is your mom almost here?
Yeah. All right. 1 second. Hey, but is your mom almost here? Yeah. Yeah. Is she going to bend you over and spank you, you little bad boy? Yeah. That's what she needs to do. This guy. So a couple of things here. Yeah. You see him visibly. If you rewind this, he's like, did you make any statements to this guy after the crash happened? Tyler says no. Tyler's buddy, who was in the car with him, steps forward and says, for whatever reasons, I said that it's not your fault. It's my fault. As he starts doing this, Tyler realizes, oh man, this guy is now admitting fault for something I am at fault for. And you see him kind of do this move. He does this right here. He kind of moves the cloth of his shirt up into his armpits. Why does he do that? He is instantly starting to sweat. He's like, oh my gosh. It's like a visceral response. Like, I'm about to start sweating out of nerves because my buddy is blabbing his mouth because it is my fault. And so also in that clip, you hear him say the word vehicle. And everyone's in this big stink like these text messages are fake because he called his car a vehicle. What 20-year-old calls their car a vehicle? They call it a car. The typical 20-year-old calls their vehicle a car, not a vehicle. But and then you hear this is common verbiage for him. And you also hear other statements. I mean, he's like, when I gauged my acceleration from that distance marker coming down that stretch of highway, it then indicated to me that I was approximately in vicinity of the yellow light to continue forward with acceleration of the gas pedal. Dude, that's how he talks. And here's the big thing everyone's getting caught up on. This isn't how your typical 20-year-old would talk. And so therefore, this has to be made up in a conspiracy by the CIA and the FBI. And he didn't really, these aren't his real text messages. Keyword, typical. Key phrase, typical 20-year-old. You typical 20-year-old ain't out there assassinating people on a college campus with a rifle. He ain't typical. Have you not learned that yet? He also has a 4.0 GPA. He's articulate. He's well-read. He's literate. He's educated. He can speak. He can type. He can form proper sentences. The one thing he can't do is be your typical 20-something-year-old. Your typical 20-year-old doesn't murder people publicly in broad day and make it a spectacle, a political statement. Okay? Like, cut the crap, people. Anyways, let's move on, because here's another little thing I didn't mention in the intro, but I said there would be all this and more. So here's some of the and more. Little small thing, but you know, you might like to know. Of course, he's into transgenders. It's kind of a little fetish, a little kink for him. He was dating one, kissing one, holding hands with one. They all turned on him. We'll get to that in a minute. Who are all they? We'll get to that in just a second. But interesting thing here, he was very consumed and preoccupied with what they call furry P-word video games. And when I say P-word, it rhymes with corn, but it starts with the P. Okay. He loved those. Apparently, video games like that exist. There are video games that, you know, have very sexually charged themes and they involve furries. And that's kind of what he was into. That just goes to show you this isn't an excuse for what he did. This isn't like, you know, let's put the blame on that. And that's not the sole reason he did what he did. But I just want to mention this to show you how harmful that P word is to people, not just 20-year-old men, not just 20-year-old women, 40-year-old, 60-year-old, 100-year-old, everybody. It's harmful. It takes you out of reality. It becomes an addiction and it changes you. And if he would have not gotten consumed by that type of content, I truly believe he got into that, and then that led him into these other internet areas to have chats and discussions with other people who were into that. And then, you know, somewhere along the way, he got into one of those and it turned very radical and political. And he was eventually corrupted enough to do what he did. So, just a little small fact about him. Let's move on. Now, another kind of in-between update here. A very credible, legit article by the New York Post from just earlier today says, breaking, armed man posing as law enforcement arrested at Arizona Stadium where Charlie Kirk's funeral will be held. And real quick, if you didn't know, Trump did announce October 14th will officially, it's already passed in the voting and the Senate, all that. October 14th will officially become a Memorial Day, a day of remembrance for Charlie Kirk. So, great. But to follow up on that headline, New York Post says, an armed man who was allegedly posing as a member of law enforcement was arrested by Secret Service agents at the Arizona Stadium where Charlie Kirk's funeral will be held this Sunday. Joshua Runkles. What a stupid little last name. Runkles. Mr. Runkles, put your hands behind your back, Mr. Runkles. Yeah, what a doofus. I'd be crazy and insane too if my last name was Runkles. Now watch, one of my biggest supporters probably has the last name Runkles. They're going to comment, be like, Jumpsuit Bubble, I am so disappointed in your remarks you made in your video today. On behalf of all the other Runkles, allegedly carrying a knife, a gun, and expired law enforcement credentials, was detained inside State Farm Stadium, home to the NFL's Arizona Cardinals in Glendale on Friday today. The Washington Post reported citing a law enforcement official familiar with the incident. Runkles, 42, told Secret Service agents he was at the site to provide private security and handed them, quote, inactive law enforcement credentials, the official reportedly told the outlet. So we don't know what's going on. I mean, that might be some crazy guy who thinks he's making a difference. I'm going to help the police maintain order. Or it could be somebody. That's how it happens, people. You know, somebody posing and they got some old expired credentials and, you know, they're retired and just, you know, they want to go out with a bang. And so they show up and they use what they got and then they do something extreme. Go out with a big bang, if you will. You know, you never know. So I don't blame law enforcement one bit. Here is Megyn Kelly. Apparently, according to this post, it says, listen to Megyn Kelly. The FBI are looking for 7 individuals who might be involved in Charlie Kirk's murder. Several of the 7 are transgender. Did Tyler have help in carrying out this horrific tragedy? I'm not one for conspiracies, but I if he didn't have help, he certainly had people who knew about it and conspirators who were fully aware and knew he was super serious about his actions that would take place that day. And they knew ahead of time, and they didn't say anything or warn anyone, and they should be held liable. Take a look at some of this video and tell me what you think.
FBI, familiar with the investigation, reporting that the Bureau is looking into posts by at least 7 different accounts. Several of the accounts appear to belong to transgender individuals, and at least one of them followed the suspect in this case, Tyler Robinson's roommate. Okay, so followed the roommate, the boyfriend, with whom Robinson was reportedly in a romantic relationship. Minutes after Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead, the user posted on X, "We fucking did it." This person has since deleted the account. Another user, 5 days before the shooting, wrote, quote, "You guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know it when you see it," along with an emoji giving a wink. "I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know it when you see it." 5 days before the assassination. Then on Wednesday, after the shooting, the same account writes, quote, "Well, that's that." And another chud bites the dust. Chud, apparently a slang derogatory term for right-wingers. This user has also deleted the account. The Free Beacon also reporting a TikTok account by an individual who appears to be transgender, writing, quote, "Charles James Kirk does not know what's coming tomorrow. This isn't a threat. It's a promise."
Now, a major point to hit on here, because it's such a big, widespread, influential voice speaking on Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens. Now she's back at it. And, you know, I'll be honest, I really used to appreciate and like Candace Owens's content, but she's saying that people at Turning Point USA, who were the ones who possessed this camera and set this camera up directly behind Charlie Kirk, and so because of that connection, she was able to reach out to Turning Point USA employees and privately, personally view this camera angle that was directly behind Charlie. She says she didn't see anything enter his neck. She didn't see anything off in the distance. She didn't see this outpouring of blood. And so for that reason, she says this is all a hoax. So what are you saying? For it to be a hoax, Charlie would have to be in on it. Isn't this your best friend? And this is who you've declared war against anyone against him for, and you're going to bat so hard to defend his honor and his name. If this is all a conspiracy, how could this happen if he wasn't in on it? And so what are you even saying? Candace Owens is going off the deep end, unfortunately. And I got one screenshot to show you, Candace, that's going to debunk everything you just said. Look at this. Anyone who knows anything, there are multiple camera angles that I can't show you because I'm not allowed to show people getting shot in the neck, believe it or not, shot in the neck on YouTube. But look at these circles. There's the entry wound. Everyone thinks it came from the front. It didn't. They have the building on camera. They have it on camera. It was from the side. There's the entry wound from the side of his neck. It ricocheted because it had so much distance. It lost, acceleration and velocity and just momentum. It ricocheted in his neck, unfortunately, and came out right there where it came out. There's the entry wound and the exit wound. And so all you saw was just, ooh, and you think he got hit from the front. He didn't. And so your camera that's directly behind him, because you don't see anything significant from the front, you're like, oh, this is all one big trick. A magician's final act. What are you talking about, ma'am? You need to... Have you not taken your meds, or have you just started some new meds? Because something's not right with what you're saying. And I used to really respect you. he got hit in the side of the neck, and it came out the more of the front side, but still side of the other side of his neck. And he bled out. What do you want? You think his wife is just devastated over there for nothing? You think she's that good of an actor? Good Lord, put her in a Hollywood movie if she's acting that well. I mean, this is ridiculous. You know, I mean, you're a well-respected journalist. You're putting out just bullcrap at this point, okay? Let's move on to a final thing here. And again, by the New York Post, they say the gun that killed Charlie Kirk is World War I era rifle that may be untraceable. They go on to say the gun Tyler Robinson allegedly used to assassinate Charlie Kirk was so old that it predated serial number mandates, making the weapon impossible to track. The Mauser model rifle, described in texts by Robinson as, quote, Grandpa's rifle, is a decades-old German-made gun used in both world wars and on the market years before a law created after the assassination of former President John F. Kennedy mandated that weapons should be etched with unique, traceable numbers. Finally, there are believed to be millions of such weapons in homes throughout the country, raising concerns among federal authorities of the potential for other assassins to carry out similar attacks with their untraceable rifles. Really no insight or, information to give you based off my own personal experience. It's not really my field right there, but again, this is just kind of a tell-all, combine the big updates within the last day and a half for you, as I will continue to do. If this is where you want to just show up once a day or every other day to get your news and updates about the Charlie Kirk situation. So, felt like that was important. Anyways, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you want me to cover anything specifically. And until then, I'll see you next time.